Hello, YouTube and X. It's your main man, BTM here, bringing you back to the BTM Crypto News Network. And as always, Kaspa. So thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and super chat. It's your main man, BTM here, bringing you back to the Kaspa. It's cold outside, not a lot going on, so I decided to make a Kaspa live. See what you guys are thinking about Kaspa and the Kaspa stream. All right, I was just outside, so I was trying to turn that heat down, but we are back and we are live. And the question of the day is now a good time to start buying back into Kaspa. As you can see, Kaspa seems to be making a push today. And like I told you guys, the tech on Kaspa is crazy phenomenal. It just doesn't get the recognition or the press yet. But I think with all these projects they're working on, it's only a matter of time before they start to push back up. Let me see here. Let's look at the bubbles and go from there. Let me start the screen share and see what we can see. So this is the Kaspa bubbles. And this is currently SQD is up 2%. Canaan Network's up 0.4. Satoshi's is up 0.3. What is this? Stellar is up 0.1. AIOZ is up 0.5. OPK is up 0.4. Litecoin's up 0.2. AIXBT is up 8.4. CVX is up 7.3. Alchemy Pay is up 0.6. Nexo is up 0.1. Bitcoin CV or SV is up 0.5. Trump is up 2%. Flare's up 2.1. Jupiter's up 2.3. Pith is up 2.4. Monero's up 1.6. Fortnite's up 1.6. World Liberty Financial is up 4% on the day, 0.4 on the hour, 5.6 on the week, and 29% on the month. Ton's up 0.6. 5 Coins up 0.5. Kronos, which is the crypto.com coin, is up 1.3. And Tau is up 0.6. And of course, Kaspa, the token we all know and love, is up 4% on the day, down 0.1 on the hour, down 7.1 on the week, 5.1 on the month, and 68.2 on the year to a 0041. So it is back at 4 cents. And this is a quick video from very own Freeman Finance.
Bullish on Kaspa. I think it's the best tech in the world. I think that VProx and their solution to an overall smart contract implementation is brilliant. But again, if nobody knows about it, then none of that matters. And I know the community likes to say a lot, but we are the marketing. Well, how has that worked so far? I think that we're marketing to ourselves. I mean, you don't need to sell me Kaspa, and I don't need to sell you Kaspa. We both believe in it. We need other people to understand exactly how great Kaspa is. And until the team really puts some resources behind that, I don't know when it's going to turn around. I'm extremely bullish on Kaspa. I think it's the best tech in the world.
So shout out to Freeman Finance on that. And there's another quick short I had on here. Let's wait for
Didn't you
it to come
just
up.
sell all your Kaspa at New Year's? Well, I sold it all New Year's Eve. And the reason is why? Because of tax loss harvesting, not because of lost conviction. In the United States, there is no wash rule in crypto, meaning it can be sold at a loss and bought back instantly. And the difference in that, the loss in that, could be deducted off the taxes owed. So this is a tax strategy that I worked with my CPA, and is not financial advice, just what I am doing. Like this video and subscribe right here to join the Finance Freeman family. Didn't you just sell all your?
So shout out to Freeman Finance on that. So this is a article, Kaspa price prediction for 2026. Kaspa targets, but the viral up presale could hit first. Kaspa eyes the 2026 breakout. As ZKP USD 100 million backed launches, draws capital with the daily auctions and upside predictions. Kaspa is trading around 5 cents as of January 12th, showing a clearly bullish short-term setup with technical analysis eyeing a potential retest of the 20 cents all-time high, with a market cap of $1.27 and $1.29 billion, and most 2026 forecasts clustering in 6 to 10 rent bands. Kaspa represents high beta execution risk proof of work, yet rather than a mature layer one. But while Kaspa holders watch for the next technical breakout, a new project is creating explosive momentum that's putting speculative capital away for POW coins and establishing layer ones like zero knowledge proof, ZKP, which launched with 100 million in pre-built infrastructure and a daily auction sale price. The analysts are calling the most significant Kaspa launch since Ethereum, with the 600x ROI predictions, live hardware shipping towards globally. Live hardware shipping globally and 5 million giveaway, accelerating participation. Here's what's happening with Kaspa's price outlook and the ZKP upcoming viral alternative that's stealing attention from Kaspa, Solana, and AKA. Trying to see what this article, what this video was. We'll keep it moving. Kaspa's price prediction, where Kas stands now. Kaspa's current price sits at the 047048, with daily candles showing bullish engulfing patterns on the daily chart. After a 2-week correction, technicals treat this as a signal that the prior uptrend may resume, potentially retesting all-time high near the 20 cents. Key metrics define Kaspa's position. Network strength, accelerating Kaspa uses K heavy hash POW algorithm with current network threshold around 210 ether hash and a difficulty around 49p. Both are very elevated versus the early cycle levels, indicating strong miner participation and growing security. Short-term momentum building. Over the last week, Kaspa's logged roughly 3 green days out of 7, with about a 1% volatility, indicating general or gentle recovery rather than explosive action. Sentiment registers as 70% bullish through the fear and greed index sits at 29. Fear, a mixed that often sets up favorably aesthetics entries when broader market caution. Mixing economic remains very, mining economics remains very viable with price near the 4 cents or 0.046 and 0.048 and a 55 cash block reward. Miners are still incentivized through profitable and tightly linked electricity and hardware efficiency as difficulty rises. Uh, Analysts forecast for Kaspa's present moderate upside scenarios rather than parabolic moves. 30 days, quantitative model project, a slow grind, and a higher 4.8 cents on January 12th and about 5 by January 28th, which is 4 days, roughly 17% upside in both holds. 2026 range, technical analysis based cast in the 6 to 15 cent range with an average around 10 cents, effectively a 40 to 200% band from today, depending on where the price ranges realizes. Conservative scenario, another multi-year model expects the average price near 48 cents with a range between 27 and or 2.7 cents and 6.5 cents, underscoring how scenario dependent returns will be on the macro risk appetite, Kaspa's adoption. Long-term to 2030 plus large horizon projects that place Kaspa around 12 cents to 13 cents by 2031, around a 2x from its current levels, but far from Solana style multi-hundred billions valuation. What could push Kaspa higher? Several catalysts could trigger Kaspa's breakout from its current consolidation. All-time high retest. Technical setup suggests potential run towards the 20-cent all-time high if bullish engulfs patterns, conforms broader, and market cooperates. Hashtag expansion. Rising network security and miner participation could attract institutional mining operations and increase confidence in the chain's long-term viability. DeFi integration. Unlike Solana and Cardano, Kaspa has limited DeFi stack integration. Meaningful ecosystem development could expand and use cases beyond pure POW security. Micro liquidity improvement. As high as the beta POW asset, Kaspa would benefit disproportionately from risk on crypto markets that lack ETF flow, limits institutional demand channels, why zero knowledge proof is pulling attention from Kaspa. While Kaspa's grinds towards a modest 2026 targets, a different opportunity is creating a viral momentum. The zero knowledge proof a privacy first blockchain that spends 100 million building complete infrastructure before selling a single token. Here's why ZKP is generating massive attention. 100 million pre-funded infrastructure. ZKP invested 20 million in blockchain architecture, 17 million in manufacturing proof of work pods, and physical AI compute hardware shipping globally in 5 days. 5 million on the ZKP.com domain after launching the pre-sale. Daily auction creating mathematical urgency, 600x return on investment. Analysts predict Crypto analysts predict ZKP could raise 1.7 billion, largest pre-sale in history, with early participants seeking 600K returns based on the auction curve and mechanisms and working technology already deployed. So what is this ZK? You might have to check that out, actually. But back to Kaspa. So currently for the crypto market is down 0.15% to 3.0 trillion. CMC 20 is $187.51, down 0.04. Fear and greed is at fear, which is 38. For altcoin season, we're at 29, pulling away from the Bitcoin dominance even further. Average crypto RSI is 43.23. So we're getting back to the middle between oversold and overbought. Let me make a copy of this and close this out as well. Let me see. So for, dang it, watch is down 0.21 on the hour, up 3.95 on the day, down 6.91 for the week, down 5% for the month, down 29.8 for the 3 months, that'd be the quarter, and down 68.5 on the year. And this is CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap has it at 4 cents, up 4.90, up 3.86 on the day. Market cap is 1.13 billion, up 3.81. 24-hour trading value is 18.21 million, down 18.5%. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think Kaspa is starting to push back up? So looking at a couple tools. This is the Kaspa lens. All this is pretty new, so I'm just trying to figure. This is 4 cents, up 3.8%. Market cap, 24-hour trading value. It's pretty much a lot of information here. And they have this sentiment barometer, which is neutral. Tells you where it listed. Still nothing about, I don't know why they went away from, what is that? KRC 20 information. So this is the Kaspa map. So this is the Caspians and the merchants. Actually, this is the Caspians. Put that out. This is merchants that take Kaspa. I'm not sure what groups is or events. I guess there's jobs for Kaspa. That's weird. We'll go back to Caspians. So it looks like there's a lot of, wait, hold up. Looks like there's a lot of people running nodes again. I'm trying to see if I can zoom over to Texas. Let's see what's going on. I might have to fire my old node back up. So we don't have nothing. Okay, there's 2 in Dallas. Oh, wow, in Garland. I guess there's 2 in Garland. Willis Point. I don't even know where that is. But it looks like there are something working. So I'm going to keep an eye on that map and might get my node back up. So this is Kaspa Stream. TPS is 10. Nodes is 622. Mean pool is 0. BPS is 10.5. Miners is 237. Hash rate is 328.5 petahash. That's a while. It's been down, bro. It's been a while since I've seen it. That's extremely low. Circulating supply is 20. Just had to wet the whistle real quick. Circulating supply is 27.14 billion. Block reward is 3.4. Oh, wow. 3.46 block for reward. KRC 721 is 34. KRC 20 is 126. Casplex L2 is 1,124. Ingrid Labs is 0. Cash is 0. Cash Peak is 0. K Social is 16. Cash Play, what the freak is Cash Play? Is 32. And KFS is 0. This is the low, the Kaspa Bridge, Casplex Bridge, Kasha, KNS, Cash Peak. That's the actual payload. This is pretty new, so I'm trying to figure most of this out. Where are the KRC20 information though? Bro, why aren't they showing KRC20 anymore? Let me know in the comments, where do they keep the KRC20 information? So this is Aquaman is 2. Humpbacks of 14. Whales 193. Sharks is 2,781. Dolphins is 20,783. Fish 64,000. Octopus 97,000. Crabs 97,000. Shrimp 105,000. Lobster 148,000, and plankton 224,000. I just wish they showed the KRC information like they used to. That's weird. So that's the transactions, blocks, miners via BTC, Hum pool, F2 pool, K1 pool, and Kaspa pool. 237 miners. Total rewards 124,000. Current block reward 3.4. It's weird. I thought there were KRC 20 part. I guess it's not big anymore. Go back to transactions. Addresses. I think there's something on the address that shows you the bigger addresses, I guess. I don't see that though. This is all by CAS instead of US or dollars. It's weird. I want to see if there's any changes. 7 days, this guy added 7.5 million Kaspa. Mexi added 12 million. Get.io lost 14 million. Bybit added 18 million. Kraken added 5.1 million. And this guy added 19.6 million. So the Kaspa Hub is just telling you about different links and sites. See if they have anything on here for KRC20 actually. Kaspa Jobs, Kaspa Payments, Kaspa Tipbot, Kaspa Mart, Kaspa Pay, Cascade, Kaspa Play, collection of classic, what? Rock the Kaspa, Proof of Prints. Oh wow, 3D printing. Hold up, wait. Okay, that's an Etsy site that prints Kaspa stuff. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to swing back to that. Kaspa Maps, Kaspa Buy, Kaspa Lens, Cash Bay. Maybe it's on Cash Bay. Cash Pute, Cash Stamp, Zealous Swap, which I thought would be doing a whole lot more than it did. Kaspa Finance, C Swap, Moonbound, KSR. That's weird. Thought that would show us the something. I guess the KSR got off of Telegram, but I don't see actual tokens, which is weird. What is this? So I guess we're just exploring the Kaspa KR change and exchange. Okay, you might have to bookmark that. Kaspa bridge. Oh, there's lots of development going on Kaspa. It's just not quite taken off though. I don't know how they can have so much stuff now and not getting a lot of press behind this. This is crazy. Kaspa Hub. I check the hub out. There's even more. Oh, wow. Address, Cassander, KPP. Let's see here. Looking for more. KRC20.org. What is this? Open this guy up. Close this out. Close this out. Got a lot of windows open. What is this? Kaspa Lens. I'm going to keep that open in the background. Which is just documentation. And this is the PPKAS, one of the KRC20 tokens. I was looking for something that had the cash bridge from base to Kaspa. What is this? Okay, this is pretty cool. Wait, what is TCGC? And this ain't searching by market cap. Okay, here we go. So Nacho's back to the top token, then PPKAS. Zale. Let me put this cup somewhere. Kango, Caspi, Dog K, Casper, Conan, favorite top dog on Kaspa, BTC, Hero, Kiki, Slow, Bert, Goat, Caspi, K-Roke. Things have changed drastically here. So Nacho's at a 4 million market cap. PPKS is 3.7, 3.3. Zale's 2.1. Kango's 1.7 mil won. Caspi's 1.5 mil won. Dog K's 1.3. Caspi's 500,000. Conan's 270,000. This is crazy. And what is this? This is cash rewards, airdrops. This is Cas Bay. I thought they took this down, actually. I guess not. Let's check out the dashboard here. Not too much information. Cas Play. Looks like these are some kind of games. I'm going to come back to this. Wonder where you log in. Oh. Let's see here. Let's see, can we start a game? Oh, wow. Okay. To practice that a little later. So this is the Kaspa news. Is that viral? Go live in seconds, replay forever. Somebody mentioned they might have been using that Kaspa stream. And this is Kasplex building the future of Kaspa, empowered by next generation ecosystems. So yeah, there's lots of tools here. Let me know if there are any other things or any other tools you guys are using on Kaspa. This is Discover. Discover KRC 20, which is looks like a white paper. We'll check through the Kaspa news. This is the DeFi Beyond Blockchain Limits, built on Kaspa, blockchain faster, more secure DeFi, swaps, lending, and borrowing, token launchpad, NFTs, and more. So it looks like they're trying to get into lending as well. Need to research that boy also and see what this is talking about. Kaspa Research, learn Kaspa, Kaspa Media, learn Kaspa by Satoshis. Now I was trying to see what this is. Okay, back to the same white paper. So we'll start looking at this newscast. Built for the community, only survives with the community support and keeps the projects running long term. Just in, Benjamin Cower posted Kaspa's Facebook group, Kaspa Smart Contracts. Good morning, weekend. Where do you think Kaspa? When do you think Kaspa will reach a buck? That's weird. Are these guys all on Twitter? Let's sort by, I guess, stats. Kaspa Tracker. Scrape Squad, Coin the something. Coin Athlete. Well, I don't know any of these names. I guess there's been a whole transition in the Kaspa network. I guess I'll close that out. I need to save this guy. And come back to this. So this is, dang, what happened to X? So going over to X. X.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And donate to your main man, BTM. Just trying to keep the lights on here on the BTM Crypto News Network. So this is ZBCN stuff. So this is Kaspa's #1 problem affecting Kaspa. And this is the main man, Freeman Finance. See,
to its detriment, could be the end of it as a.
It's about time you asked me, added and navigation buttons to the block details, enabled navigating blocks, blue score, cast theme. Now you can easily browse all these early blocks, starting with the Kaspa Genius or Genesis. Genesis also searchable. Yeah, I got some time in your hands. I don't know, I'm going to search through the blocks. Forget Bitcoin, altcoin are moving with the link. You can analyze where the volume price is moving. Interesting. I need to get this a once over. Alerts. Is this it? Is this the Kaspa or crypto volume? Is this? That's weird. So you're gonna have to research that. I got time, so I'm gonna look through that as well today. What makes cat bridge different? The construction of the cat bridge adheres to Kaspa's core principles: transparency, accuracy, and verifiability. This means zero is missing or stuck asset. All bridge operations executed flawlessly. The daily automatic verification checks for bridging instance. See reference. Everything is verifiable, auditable, and continuously subject to scrutiny for Kaspa's accuracy, trustless design, and the paramount importance. So this is a level of verification that's not optional, but essential. The CAP bridge is not only moves assets between layers, but also maintains Kaspa's integrity across different layers. I think that was the same thing. So let's go back to this article from Freeman. Actually, let me check this first, and then we'll go back to Freeman. So this is Roy O'Neill from Cas II just dropped major insight on the path to institutional adoption. The key, the mastery key, okay. The master key for Kaspa integration, Fireblock, Cooper headquarters. Here's why this changes everything. So let's run this real quick and I'll be right back.
Mentioned Fireblocks and Copper. I just wanted to just very quickly go through why that's important and why that integration matters. And it matters for more than stablecoins. It also matters for other exchanges to integrate Kaspa into their ecosystem. We're aware of several exchanges who really want to list Kaspa, but they can't because Fireblocks don't currently support it. It was on their to-do list. Like last year, they said we'll get around to it at some point. But just I'll very quickly just explain what they are. Fireblocks is a custody platform, and Copper is an institutional custody provider. And why these matter for stablecoin integration. So for any stablecoin to achieve meaningful adoption, it needs to be accessible where the money actually lives. And institutional money lives inside custody infrastructure. So what Fireblocks does is they provide a secure type of wallet infrastructure for institutions, and basically institutions won't touch assets that they can't custody through their existing security stacks. And Fireblocks, it's called MPC/CMP architecture, is the default for funds, market makers, and exchanges. So a lot of stablecoin minting and redemption workflows need programmable approval chains, and treasury operations require a lot of multi-party sign-offs that Fireblocks handles natively. So I think there's about 2,000 institutions are already connected into the Fireblocks network, and Kaspa stablecoin integration into something like Fireblocks means instant access to that liquidity network without each individual counterparty needing to independently support Kas. That's Fireblocks. Copper have a thing called Clearloop, and Clearloop lets institutions trade on exchanges without pre-funding. So for stablecoin liquidity provision and arbitrage, which is really important for the maintenance of peg maintenance to USDT, for example, it's considered critical infrastructure. It's also used for off-chain settlement and stablecoin redemptions for large OTC type deals to secure bilateral settlements. And Copper's infrastructure handles this. I'm not sure of the status of where either of these are in terms of Kaspa, but definitely if Fireblock support comes, a lot more smaller exchanges will be able to integrate Kaspa very easily. So effectively, the practical reality for stablecoins without Fireblocks and Copper integration is that a stablecoin would be limited to retail wallets. Any native Kaspa DeFi, which doesn't really exist just yet, and then smaller exchanges who are willing to do the direct integration because they understand what Kaspa is, and it has very bright future forward. So I just made a comment on the.
So shout out to Kaspa crew and the Kaspa KII. What up, Patriot Party? What up, Heavy Hitter? I might have to go ahead and make a ZBIC Network video later, because I actually got my ZBIC shirt. You guys are gonna love it. I might start setting that up. But let me finish out this Kaspa live stream real quick. Main man Freeman Fine Man.
There is
what he
one
has to say.
problem Kaspa is facing right now that could be to its detriment, could be the end of it as a proof of work network. And in this video, I'm going to detail exactly what that is. Now, I realize this may be controversial within the Kaspa community, and I want you to let me know down below what your comments are on this. But the same thing that led it to run up to over 20 cents is the same reason it has now been perpetually down, down, down. And why? Unless this changes, nothing else matters. I am not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Now let's get into Kas. Well, red day. We're back to 4 cents for Kaspa, but I'm going to tell you how I think this could be, changed, how this could not look like a chart that ends up being like this one day, that is just down, down, down forever. And it all has to do with marketing. And I'm going to go over a couple things that were talked about on X, but I think this is very, very important for everyone to realize. I said if Kas would do some marketing similar to what Zcash did, then we would magically see Coinbase and Binance listed on spot. And this is why. Because exchanges make money off of volume. So if we take a look right here, this is Kaspa, $1.2 billion market cap coin. 24-hour volume, 19 million. That is a very, very low market cap to volume ratio. Actually, it's one of the lowest that there is, especially in the top 100 cryptocurrencies. And I had someone say, well, don't just look at one day. Guys, it's always like this. It's extremely, extremely low. The days that are high are actually outliers. So the numbers I want you to look at here is 1.2 billion right here and 19 million. Whereas if we come over here and take a look, this is Pingu, a meme coin. It is considerably smaller, 735 million. But when you look at the volume, it's over 4 times that of what Kaspa is. So why would a tier 1 exchange list Kaspa? There's a couple reasons why that's difficult. One, it's just a listing and there's no allocation that anyone wants to give these exchanges. The second thing is it's a lot easier just to list another Solana meme coin or another Ethereum coin like Pepe, the blue or the green frog that everyone talked about, because the infrastructure is already there. Kaspa is a whole new L1. All that would have to be built out. But whenever you take a look at this, exchanges make their money off of volume. So if you are running a business, take your ideology out of it, what crypto you like more, what's best for crypto, take all that apart. Which one's best? This one that is a smaller market cap and generates a lot of volume, or this one that, yeah, it's a higher market cap, but nobody's trading it. And that is what people are missing here. And so I want to come over here to Y Stand, something that he posted on X. We had a very good conversation. And he said the hard truth about Kaspa can have the best tech in the world. It can have the potential to reach a top 3, which I think it can. It could be the cleanest, most fair launch crypto. And none of it matters because fair launch with zero coordinated marketing is done, okay? And a lot of people say, well, Bitcoin was all organic. They didn't pay for any marketing. Bitcoin was number 1, okay? Bitcoin was the first. Kaspa is one of 20 million projects out there right now. And I go to a lot of crypto conferences and I talk to people about Kas, and either they think it's like done or they have no idea what it is. But then people say, well, if Kaspa didn't pay for marketing, how did they have this huge run up? And it's because, in my opinion, and I'll get into this in a minute, but in my opinion, it was because there was marketing. There was influencers talking about it. We were in a bear market, the only thing running. I make a lot of content about Kaspa. I can promise you a minimum of 52 videos this year. There will be more. I'm doing my part. But when we take a look at something like this guy right here.
So Kaspa, from what I've seen,
post any more about Kaspa.
So Kaspa,
okay?
from what I've seen, the second fastest.
If we go take a look at the interview I had with Zach Humphreys. We did a podcast. He said, yeah, I just kind of lost interest in it and nobody's talking about it anymore. And so there's a
shout out to Freeman. And he's right? People kind of lost interest. There was a lot of fighting and arguing and backbiting with Kaspa, so it kind of didn't really go well, right? And then when the developer, which wasn't the developer, which is the organizer, was arguing with the team, that didn't go well either. Plus, there wasn't a lot of adoption with Kaspa just in general. So there was a lot of things that kind of pulled them back. Let's get back to the video and see what else Freeman has to say.
couple things that can happen. Okay, it's Kaspa's ecosystem grows through vprogs. Okay, that's real adoption, real world assets, things like that. Or number two is that the miners remain unprofitable for too long, shut off, and the overall block DAG fails. And you've seen that the miners have turned down a lot. If you just look at the monthly, we actually look pretty good sitting here at 450 petahashes. But I had a conversation with another guy on X, and I said that, the clock is really ticking for Kaspa. This is a proof of work network. This is not proof of stake. And he was like, oh yeah, like proof of stake's good. No, you're missing the point. And maybe he doesn't understand. So I'll elaborate a little more. Proof of stake, all you have to do is have tokens and allocate them to staking. Proof of work, this is actual people, actual computers, actual electricity, actual cost that goes into it. So even a network that's proof of stake that nobody is using, it can run for very, very minimum fees, whereas something like Kaspa just absolutely cannot. And so the reason that I believe that we've been down only on Kaspa is because up here was the peak. It was obviously everyone talking about smart contracts, and that turned out to not be as fun, as lucrative, as user friendly as people thought. So they didn't use it. And also, when you look at the emission schedule, Kaspa chose a very, very fast, steep emission schedule. If you just look here from month 2 right here, 1.3 billion were in circulation. That was in December of 21. If you just fast forward a little bit to December of 22, it over 7x'd the amount of tokens in there. And so if we come back and look at the price of around this time, guys, when people are in major profits, you don't have to sell as much to pay for the miners, right? But once miners start becoming underwater, that is where a very big problem has. And so I actually agree a lot with what he says, is that, we need marketing. We definitely do. And coming back to my first point over here is that, people are so stuck up on, oh, Binance offered this, Coinbase wants to charge this. Yes, they do, because it's a one-sided relationship. If Coinbase lists Kaspa right now, unless there's a ton of people just waiting for Coinbase to buy it, then guys, Kaspa's getting all the benefit. Coinbase is getting none because there's no volume. There's no volume. It makes a lot more sense to list meme coins, to list privacy, to list perp dexes, things that actually are bringing a ton of volume in there. And so I think marketing, and trust me, I am biased. I'm a full-time content creator and I acknowledge that. But guys, if we can't bring volume, we can't bring attention, then none of this matters. This point number 1 right here of vprogs, guys, if vprogs are built out and nobody knows about it besides the Kaspa community, and I know we're all in our own little echo chambers over on X looking, but if nobody knows about it, then what does it really matter? If you take a look at something like Zcash, if you look currently, this is a 6 bill market cap. Okay, if we just switch this to market cap, it'll be a little easier to look at. So you can see back here it was around 700 mil. Back here at this peak it was about 1.2. So this is about the size of Kaspa right there. And so if we measure from the current size of Kaspa what they did with some marketing, maybe it was 500K, maybe a mil worth of marketing, that added 10 bill to the overall market cap. And I know a lot of people say, well, Kaspa was fair launched. Well, I guarantee that the people that were able to make this document and a whole bunch of other people were mining super, super early, and they made a lot of money. Now, that's not a bad thing, but put some of it back in the ecosystem. You can't just be so focused on building, because if you build something and nobody knows about it, then it's equivalently worthless. And so that's one of my biggest frustrations is, I'm doing my part. I'm doing all I can to sit here and talk about Kaspa. I truly believe Kaspa is, changing the way that money works. I truly believe that. And whenever I look at the chart, I see we're at some very, very critical levels. If you come back here to this high, look where we're at. It makes a lot of sense. But this conversation that came up with Stan, I think is very, very interesting. We do need people talking about Kaspa. When people talk about Kaspa, people like Kaspa, even though it's never financial advice. And I would never want someone to buy something just because I talk about it. If they don't know about it, they can never do their own research. I mean, Fire Hustle, a lot of respect for her. We talk on X, sometimes on comments and stuff. She seems very nice. She talks about Kaspa, but there's only a few of us left. And we're coming to a point to where Kaspa's kind of running out of time. I mean, if we take a look at Bitcoin here, I do think we are in a confirmed bear market. Nobody wants to hear that. But while I say that, there's definitely money to be made on both sides. I shorted Zcash, never financial advice, at the top, made 6 figures. I have been shorting Bitcoin trading, guys. If you want to see what I am doing, I'll leave a link down below for my private group. It's extremely cheap in my opinion. But, the clock is ticking on Kaspa. And the reason the clock is not ticking for something like Polkadot is because it's proof of stake. It can just go down forever. There's very minimal cost to actually run something like that versus a proof of work. And so ironically, what I believe caused this huge run up was a lot of free promotion. It was a bear market. Nothing was really doing that good. I mean, right here in this period, right here from 22 to here, this period of it, whatever this is, 50x or, that was all free influencer marketing. I do not think they paid for any of it, but this problem that the Kaspa community has about trying to be more decentralized than Bitcoin, it'll never happen. And if that's the sword, Kaspa and Jonathan Sompolinsky, and they want to go on, then it may just be, the end of Kaspa one day. And like I said, I'm extremely bullish on Kaspa. I think it's the best tech in the world. I think that VProgs and their solution to an overall smart contract implementation is brilliant. But again, if nobody knows about it, then none of that matters. And I know the community likes to say a lot, but we are the marketing. Well, how has that worked so far? I think that we're marketing to ourselves. I mean, you don't need to sell me Kaspa, and I don't need to sell you Kaspa. We both believe in it. We need other people to understand exactly how great Kaspa is. And until the team really puts some resources behind that, I don't know when it's going to turn around, but I want to know your comments down below. Let me know. Watch this video up above about what I think is coming on in the macro market and Bitcoin and when I believe we will bottom. And hopefully by then, VProgs are up and running and Kaspa is soaring. I love you all.
So shout out to Freeman Finance. And he's right. Without marketing, Kaspa's not really going anywhere. Kaspa needs more marketing and marketing to outside of Kaspa, because I saw that early on. Kaspa appears to be marketing to Kaspa. I don't know what the point of marketing to Kaspa is if you already know about Kaspa. If you need to get people involved in Kaspa that aren't talking about Kaspa, you're gonna have to do some kind of marketing.
There is one problem,
and I just haven't figured out why they haven't figured out. If we know it, I know they know it. It's about time you ask me. Oh, look at that already. Already. Kaspa is the greatest cryptocurrency in recent history. Do yourself a favor and research it. This is stablecoins are coming to Ingrid Labs Cashplex in Q1 2026, as confirmed by Argon, what? And Kaspa Door. This is a major milestone for DeFi on Cas. Watch the full video at Chris. What? I see out your crypto pumps, but let's watch this short
on
clip
Kaspa.
real quick.
Oh my. Oh.
So we had a lot of meetings with with the stablecoin issuers. This is work in progress. This is I see daily updates from our colleagues testing and doing different stuff. Again, I'm not going to be very specific about this, but I would say yes, Q1 2026 should definitely have stables on Kaspa.
Oh my God!
Via Casplex, and again, I cannot say if it's going to be native or bridged because I don't want to break any NDA, right? So Jay, yeah, this is work in progress, and this is going to be released in terms of updates to everyone as soon as we can and are allowed to. And of course, once this is being signed off and agreed, you will see marketing campaigns, you will see promotion from both sides, the normal stuff when a new partnership is being agreed and signed and approved by both parties.
We talked a little bit about stable coins, and I was in a meeting today where we're bringing together 4 or 5 different projects to help support bridging any tokens really, but stables included on Tigre, so that hopefully we can see those live at mainnet launch in just a few weeks.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Oh, yeah. Whoa.
So yeah, I think there's not a lot of difference for the Nacho community. It's just more work to be done.
So we might have to check out that stream at some point. Canon Network, CC means control, not crypto. Goldman Sachs, Microsoft, BNP. The changes in the world are moving fast, and specifically with global agenda, which might lead to a long wait until we top. No Diddy. But we have no doubts Kaspa, the market will explode. P.S. Now is not the time to leverage or take a loan or stake cast anywhere. That's weird. Something big is cooking. If you know you're going to stack up more, no rush. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. There's plenty of time, guys. Don't panic or panic sale. Just continue to hold. Love to see Cas outperform every other coin, even the biggest market players like Bitcoin. Kaspa pushes hard over the last 24 hours, but observe those performance comparisons to the lens. What is this? Normalized price, Kaspa versus Bitcoin, percentage change, performance difference. There's a lot of information here. You can also check out on the BTM Crypto News Network. Fear and Greed Index is now at a 33. Current price is 4 cents. Mr. Kaspa, 24-hour trading volume. Kaspa is top exchanges 3.9 million. KuCoin or HTX 3.9. KuCoin 5.2. Gate.io 2.3. Mexi 1.9. Bybit 1.3, Kraken 400K. Here are Kaspa's rankings in 24 hours for exchanges. That's weird. Bullish, most bullish sentiment, and number 1's Kaspa. 2 is Polkadot, 3 is Cardano, and 4 is XRP. While most projects are busy fighting for a spot inside every narrative, even the ETF lists, every politician's mention, Kaspa is doing something different, not trying to be approved, not trying to be included, just building. History shows this clearly. The market doesn't reward who talks the loudest. It rewards who works the longest. By the time everyone realizes what they missed, the sidelines won't be empty anymore. Kaspa won't be catching up. Others will be catching up to Kaspa. So this is big winners of U.S. crypto policy. So XRP, Cardano, Ethereum, EHC. I don't know what EHC is. What's EHC? Bitcoin, PTC. Let's see, what is that? EHC, PTC, AQR, Quan, Solana. I don't know why there's so many Solanas on here. AVAX, Suit, Ape, Near, Move, HCH, XCH, Dodge, Bonk, ZOC, Link, something that's kind of blurred, Melania Trump, Algorand, Manta, Ondo, Int. Why isn't the ZBEC on here? I don't know who did this. Oh, ETF applications. Well, still, why isn't ZBEC on there? Kind of concerning, actually. Gronk thinks Kaspa will reach $10 in 10 years. That's 24,960% increase. 73.7 per year for Kaspa is huge. Sell gold and buy Bitcoin. Kaspa hash rate has fallen sharply, dropping to around 340 petahash. This marks a notable decline in network hash power and is worth monitoring alongside price action, mining difficulty adjustments, and miner behavior over the coming days. By my best guess, Bitcoin was originally intended to be a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Ironically, your espresso is usually ready long before an on-chain Bitcoin transaction confirms. Kaspa fixes this. And I thought that too. Why doesn't Kaspa just go ahead and team up with, or why doesn't Bitcoin team up with Kaspa to use them in the processing? But I guess the Bitcoin maxis aren't really up for that. What's the difference between Bitcoin and Kaspa's infrastructure? Bitcoin is built on a single chain. Kaspa's block DAG forms a network of parallel blocks sorted by. Send Bitcoin 100K and watch what Kaspa does while no one is watching. Let's run this quick video.
Made up of these computers called nodes. Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're going to break down the fundamental differences between two cryptocurrencies. You've got the OG Bitcoin and then a newer contender, Kaspa, that's trying to solve one of the biggest headaches in the crypto world.
Okay, let's dive right in. To really get what's new here, we first have to understand the revolutionary tech that started it all. You got to know where you've been to see where you're going.
Back in 2008, the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto published a paper that introduced the world to the blockchain. I mean, it was a totally groundbreaking idea, a peer-to-peer system for digital cash. Instead of a bank, it uses something called proof of work. It basically uses a ton of computing power to verify every transaction, which makes the whole thing secure without needing any central authority. Now, the security of this whole system hangs on one simple but incredibly powerful idea. You see, the whole network, it's made up of these computers called nodes, and they all have this one simple rule they follow. The longest chain of blocks is the right one. Why? Well, because that longest chain has the most computing effort, that proof of work poured into it, which makes it the hardest one to mess with. But, and this is the crucial part, To keep that one single chain secure and stop it from splitting into different versions, the system has to be slow, like on purpose. This creates this fundamental trade-off, a real tug of war between security and speed. To make sure everyone on the network agrees on which chain is the longest, the network's speed is, and I'm quoting here, artificially suppressed. This just gives each new block enough time to travel across the entire globe before the next one gets created. So what does that mean? Well, it means Bitcoin can only handle about 3 to 7 transactions a second. Yeah, that's it. And that creates a huge bottleneck as more and more people use it. And what happens to blocks that are created correctly but just don't happen to land on that single longest chain? They're called orphan blocks. And all that energy, all that computing power that went into making them, yeah, it's just gone. It's basically wasted effort, but it's a necessary waste to keep that main chain secure. So that's the big question, right? How do you get faster without losing that security? Well, it turns out some folks thought the answer was to stop thinking in a straight line and start thinking outside the chain. Okay, take a look at this. This is a whole different beast. It's not a blockchain. It's something called a block DAG. That stands for Directed Acyclic Graph. So instead of that single file line where every block has just one parent, a block DAG is more like a web. Blocks can link up to several parents at the same time, acknowledging all the different blocks that came before them, not just the one right in front. And this, right here, this really nails the core difference. It's a total paradigm shift. You see, a blockchain gets its security by scarcity. It throws away information to force everyone down one single path. But a block DAG, it finds security in abundance. It uses all the valid blocks, and it uses their connections to build an even stronger consensus. Nothing gets wasted. All right, so let's move on from theory and see how this actually works in the real world with a crypto called Kaspa, which is built on this very idea. Kaspa is built on a protocol called GhostDAG. You can think of GhostDAG as the air traffic controller for this crazy web of blocks. Its main job is to look at all these interconnected blocks and create one single definitive timeline, so everyone agrees on the order of transactions. So how does it do that? Well, GhostDAG looks at the entire web and kind of takes a vote. It finds the most densely connected group of blocks. You can think of it as the main highway of the DAG and calls them the most honest. Then it creates that final order, putting the transactions from that main cluster first. But, and this is key, it still weaves in the transactions from all the other blocks. So no work is wasted. Even blocks that would have been orphaned on Bitcoin get included securely. By using this block DAG, Kaspa is really trying to solve what they call the blockchain trilemma. That's the idea that it's impossible to have security, decentralization, and scalability all at the same time. Kaspa's approach is basically saying, hey, maybe you can. And to keep things decentralized, it also uses something called pruning. This lets people running the network discard old data they don't need, which keeps the hardware requirements low so pretty much anyone can participate. So what does all this mean for the future? Are we looking at a showdown between the classic chain and this new DAG structure? So let's just break it down one more time. A classic blockchain gets that legendary security by, well, limiting information. It forces everyone down a single, slow path and just tosses out the effort from any blocks that don't make the cut. In that world, speed and security are basically enemies. But a block DAG? It does the opposite. It gets its finality by embracing more information. It uses all those connections between blocks, letting them work in parallel to build a consensus that's both strong and fast. Here, speed and security can actually be friends. And this quote, it just perfectly sums it up, doesn't it? We're talking about a huge shift in thinking, from a system that has to be slow to be safe, to one that's designed from the ground up to be as fast as the network can handle, without ever giving up that security. And that leaves us with this final big question to think about. As our world just keeps demanding faster and faster transactions for everything, is the future of this tech really a single orderly line? Or is it something more like a complex, high-speed, interconnected web? What do you think? Welcome to the Explainer.
So shout out to the explainer. Send Bitcoin 200K and watch Kaspa. What does while no one's looking. Ethereum in offers ecosystem depth and proven security. Kaspa delivers speed and native scalability. Which one matters? So this is Jim Ski Bum. Total. Euphorium on the charts. The Great Metal Bull Market 2025-2026. Silver is now 99 per ounce. Gold is in the process of reaching a possible peak at 4,000 to 5,300. Silver could make the same move as gold with respect to the fib, technically 150 to 170. Decided to switch ledger Cas Vault since one key won't fix. Blind signing, forked design, added the labeling addresses, and forced the only load addresses with balance, hoping to keep messing around and learn the code more. Every time Kaspa dips, me take my dirty fiat. Many are still massively underestimating Kaspa. Mara mined Kaspa. The major exchange quietly pushing it. The tech is fundamentally different from anything we have so far. Price does not equal fundamentals. Anyone who looks at the chart is missing out on what's being built. Follow us for more Kaspa insights. Tradley Kaspa. If I still like Kaspa, it's so obvious. I'll bet did not expect to see current prices. However, it's only other coin Myra mines besides Bitcoin. HXT is shilling it passively daily. The techs are literally revolutionaries with additional development not so far out. It does not explode. Okay. Let me see. Bitcoin better than Cas is better than Bitcoin. However, it's a better together story. I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know why these guys don't go ahead and team up, man. It makes sense. Between the two of them, they could do great things, guys. I don't know. Green light. The Kaspa map working on final steps before a new version goes live. Soon, you'll be able to find your favorite Kaspa community member and Cas accepting merchants without hurting your eyes at night. Which is happy to announce that our Cas map intern just pressed the button to start the migration. His reaction, I'm very proud that I was allowed to migrate. So far, so good. See you all on the new infrastructure. Emails with further information will be sent. Kaspa is the top 5 gainer in the past 24 hours. Kaspa bounced to 3.4 cents and surged to 4 cents. Kaspa be like a wave excited, wave A excited, wave B depressed, wave C dreaming big. Kaspa is in the top 10. Who else bought that dip? The same day Mara announced they've been mining Kaspa, Sailor posted, take a bite with the image of Bitcoin, Apple, and Kaspa's color hue. It makes perfect sense for Sailor to add Kaspa to MicroStrategies. Kaspa deserves multi-trillion-dollar market cap for solving problems. Please get 100K or meal Kaspa if you haven't already. Things are looking interesting for Kaspa fam. Get the dry powder. So this is a Zebek. I'm going to set up a Zebek
required
video.
to upgrade system.
Going to finish this Kaspa out, and then we're going over to Zebek.
What's up, crypto crew, and welcome back. Or if this is your first time, I'm Captain Crypto Mite, actively escaping the matrix, scoping out the crypto ocean. So if you like your odds, get on the boat, stay up to date, thumbs up, and join the hunt.
Into the boat!
Crypto crew, today we're diving into a conversation that might just change the way you look at the current top 50 of the crypto ocean. We're featuring an exclusive look at an interview between Rory O'Neill from Kaspa Industrial Initiative, the KII, and the legends over at Blockchain Banter, hosted by Crypto Pumps and Quick Crypto. You want to stay around for this one because Rory's about to explain why Warp Core changes the math entirely. Projects such as XRP, Cardano, XLM, and HBAR that claim to own the world of finance and settlement. We aren't just talking about Kaspa being different anymore. We're talking about Kaspa having a unique technological edge that puts Kas in a league of its own. Stay tuned, Crypto Crew.
Guess you guys aren't ready for that yet.
Prove all things, hold fast, that which is good. Quick reminder to keep your Kaspa coins, Bitcoins, and crypto investments safe. In our opinion, Tangem is the best way for you to do that. Right now, you can grab 20% off your Tangem wallet plus $10 in Bitcoin. Just enter in the codes NYExtra26 and Crypto Crew with the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for your consideration and support in advance, and may the Lord Jesus Christ bless you all.
The approach they're taking is the wrong approach. They're trying to put in place entirely new systems for banking institutions, many of which have old banking ledgers or have big old mainframe systems that are running on emulators to keep themselves operational, because the time to transition and the investment required to upgrade systems is huge. There's a lot of regulatory uncertainty. ISO 20022 is basically this new structured language that banks are now required to use to describe payments and financial events. Let's simplify Warp Core and what it is. Warp Core is an interoperability layer that translates the language of banking messages, which is called ISO 20022, into a blockchain-ready workflow, and then back again after an event has been recorded on the Kaspa block DAG, so institutions can safely test before it touches anything in production. So that's what the sandboxes are for right now. ISO is the structured language that banks use. It's become the global standard, and Warp Core effectively is a bridge / translator that translates those messages to interact with modern ledger rails, i.e. Kaspa, and right now we're doing it in a controlled environment. A notary, so a court clerk or a registered notary, will timestamp a document. So what effectively Warp Core does is it acts like this notary who stamps each filing with an unforgeable time and public docket entry. And that stamp or anchor provides exactly when a record existed, and then anyone can verify its chain of custody later. This is a technical tamper-evident notarization. It's not an automatic legal notarization that's recognized in every jurisdiction, but because we require licenses and all sorts of things to do that over time. The second is settlement finality. So if you think of finality as you walk into a bank with cash and you hand it over at the teller's window, you've suddenly had finality of settlement. You've paid into an account. So finality is the instant the teller hands you cash. After that handover, you can't rewind the transfer unless you quickly try and take it back, at which point you're a bank robber. Warp Core gives the same unambiguous no undo moment for on-ledger transfers. The next aspect is netting. So I suppose the best way to describe netting is you're in the bar, you've had a nice night out at Wolfie's, and he's kindly had a tab open for you for the night. The tab is closed at the end of the night at the bar. Many rounds get bought, and at midnight the bar tallies who owes whom what, and one net payment settles everyone's bar tab. So Warp Core can mirror this by aggregating those flows and settling a single net obligation. So what the netting does is it cuts the gross flows and credit usage, but it needs clear rules and central settlement guarantees. So it's slightly different from a real-time gross settlement, but it's similar to closing the tab at the end of the night. Who owes what banks have traded through the day, but we're providing that netting and the ability to audit that pretty fast and in real time.
When Rory talks about Warp Core, you start to realize Kaspa isn't just playing the same game. same as everyone else. Kaspa's playing a completely different sport, a sport no other crypto project has taken on so far. While other projects are trying to patch their systems to handle worldwide finance, Kaspa was built for it from the ground up.
There's no second best crypto asset.
Before we continue, Crypto Crew, shout out to our sponsor of today's vid, LLC Vault. If you're not protecting your gains in crypto, you're leaving yourself exposed. So if you're a non-US viewer, LLC Vault lets you set up a private US LLC and earn crypto income with potentially zero US tax. You can even store silver offshore tax-free. It's that simple. If you're a US citizen, Formation Vault helps you build an offshore structure like Cook Islands, Panama, wherever, to create a legal fortress around your wealth so the government cannot freeze it. And this isn't about dodging taxes, Crypto Crew. It's about legally keeping more of what you earn. Now, because Hector from Acequisition, an LLC Vault founder, is a friend of the channel, you get 10% off these professional setups. Don't be a sitting duck. Protect your gains today. Link in the description.
And then the last thing is the settlement window. Basically, it's when the train departure slots on a timetable where batches of transactions finalize together on a scheduled departure. Warpcore can run both continuous rails in terms of real-time settlement or windowed multi-cycle settlement windows depending on the particular financial instrument and the particular market practice. There's different trade-offs in terms of throughput versus latency, real intraday liquidity within financial institutions, and then pre-funding rules that materially affect the behavior in practice. They're the caveats, but I hope those analogies have described what Warpcore actually does. It's a message translator for banks that records immutably the transactions pretty quickly.
You decided not to go to banks and ask them to change a lot of stuff. You decided to leave the banks alone, the way they do things, and just added in a bit of software in the middle.
Yeah.
So they don't have to change anything.
Yeah, so they keep all of their existing anti-money laundering and compliance workflows because most of them are already up. They're all supposed to be operating on the ISO 222 data set. Organizations like the FCA and MAS in Singapore are adding new data points for stablecoins and digital assets and those sorts of things. So we can still record those transactions using Warpcore, irrespective of what the digital assets are or what the settlement mechanism is. Quick update on where Warpcore is right now. It's running in a private sandbox with extremely tight controls, with repeatable tests. It's just pure engineering, and the goal is simple: is to prove ISO 222 and Kaspa interoperability in a way that institutions and regulators can actually evaluate. ISO 222 is the global standard for this rich messaging, but what we're doing is we're simply recording the receipts. We think what XRP and them trying to sell all sorts of ways of doing everything digitally is overkill and is very difficult for banks to retool for. We're doing everything on a staged basis, so we'll move from a private sandbox to public institutional test environments, regulatory sandboxes where we're eligible so we can test with the right guardrails, with the right partners, and with the full oversight regulatory authorities. There's several that we're exploring right now. So there's the FCA regulatory sandbox in the UK, who are moving towards supervised testing. In Singapore, there's a serious market shift for structured supervised fintech testing, and they have what they call the MAS sandbox, which is on our shortlist. Abu Dhabi Global Markets have a thing called RegLab, which is another program we're evaluating for controlled institutional testing. And Dubai also has a licensed sandbox program to test innovative financial products and services in DIFC, the Dubai International Financial Services City. We'll be exploring that. There's a lot of testing licenses that are required. You have to go through a lot of regulatory hurdles to get through a lot of this. In Europe, there's also a lot of public institutional sandboxes that are available as well. But what we're working Swift, My Standards, messaging specifications, and testing collaboration protocols. So Swift have a thing called My Standards, and it's a collaborative platform to create, share, and test messaging and support open ISO 222 adoption. And we're aligning with that industry tooling, particularly the Swift My Standards. But there's also, in the US, there's the US Federal Reserve. They've been called FedWire, and they have what's called a My Standards readiness portal for testing. We're paying attention to major institutional migrations like Fedwire's testing approach because it sets expectations for quality and readiness. But our system, we're building step by step and going through these sandbox experiments. We've designed Warp Core end to end, but at the moment we're going to the most important part, which is the end step, which is the receipt. An event happens on an existing financial institution system, and we're recording the receipts. So that's the very, very simple integration for the banks, rather than having to rip apart legacy systems and start all over. So we've taken a completely different approach to all of the other systems out there, one that's more readily adoptable. And this is based on feedback directly from very large financial institutions.
Which ones?
I'm not going to say.
And
You're gonna try.
I gotta try, yeah.
Huge shout out to Rory O'Neill and the Blockchain Banter team, Crypto Pumps and Quick Crypto for such an eye-opening chat, because it's clear, Crypto Crew, Kaspa's advantage isn't just speed, it's a fundamental architectural superiority. So Crypto Crew, what was your biggest takeaway from Rory O'Neill's update? Please do share your thoughts in the comments below. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good.
Stick around.
Fix your mind before you get to the grind. And with that said, let's continue to escape the matrix. Let's continue to be on the lookout for the next big thing here on the crypto ocean. Grow in grace, and let's make some crypto waves. Say I.
So shout out to your crypto crew. Let's see what else.
Kaspa could hit $2 by 2026, and honestly, the reason it hasn't pumped.
Trying to figure out. I had another video set up. I think this is Crypto Pumps.
Hoodie guy coming back here with another one. Well, we'll be talking about Kaspa.
Actually, it's Bitcoin hoodie, but over here and play this from. Who is this? Zachary Crypto.
Pumped yet might be the exact same reason it eventually will. We're talking about a project that's building something genuinely different while the market completely ignores it. And that gap between what Kaspa is doing technically and where KS price is sitting right now is getting absolutely ridiculous. Stay tuned, because we're breaking down why underperformance today might actually set up the biggest opportunity tomorrow. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. If you're new here, we dive deep into crypto projects that actually matter, not just whatever's trending on Twitter for 5 minutes. So Kaspa price discussions have taken this really interesting turn lately, and it's not because of some sudden hype cycle or Elon tweet. It's because there's this massive gap growing between what the network is actually building and how KS price continues to just sit there on the charts doing basically nothing. While other crypto assets are riding these massive waves of attention and speculation, Kaspa has been moving quietly, often completely overlooked, even as the technical foundation keeps maturing month after month. That contrast sits right at the center of a new Kaspa prediction that's looking ahead to 2026 and placing a potential $2 outcome on the table, and we need to talk about whether that's realistic or just hopium. Now, KAS price has struggled to keep pace with other large narratives during recent market cycles, and that underperformance has raised some pretty fair questions from traders and investors. But here's what's wild. The issue doesn't appear to be a lack of development or vision at all. Instead, Kaspa has taken this lower path, focusing on fundamentals rather than aggressive marketing, or constantly adding flashy features just to pump the charts. According to analyst Mukesh Kaz, this slower visibility has played a major role in how the market values Kaspa today, and his Kaspa prediction for 2026 frames KAS price movement as a function of adoption timing rather than technical weakness. He outlines scenarios that range from a softer bear market environment all the way to a more optimistic expansion phase, depending on how the broader crypto market evolves over the next couple years. But before we get to those predictions, we need to understand why Kaspa keeps getting misread by the market, because this is where things get technical and honestly pretty fascinating. Kaspa is built on a block DAG architecture combined with pure proof of work, which already sets it apart from basically every modern network out there. Transactions finalize quickly, blocks move at an incredibly high rate, and security remains grounded in decentralization rather than delegation to validators or staking pools. This design focus helps explain why Kaspa Price doesn't always respond to short-term excitement the way memecoins or layer ones with massive marketing budgets do. Kas isn't chasing every trend or narrative that pops up. Performance, consensus, cryptography, and game theory sit at the core of this project, and that makes Kaspa way harder to explain in a single headline or a 10-second TikTok. Markets tend to reward simplicity first and depth later, which has left KAS price lagging while the system itself keeps improving behind the scenes. It's like watching a Formula One team quietly perfecting their engine while everyone else is getting sponsorship deals and Instagram followers. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what's the actual prediction here? Well, Mukesh Kaz breaks his Kaspa prediction into 3 realistic outlooks for 2026, and each one depends on different market conditions and adoption curves. In a slower adoption environment where crypto stays relatively quiet and institutional interest doesn't materialize, he places KAS price between 20 cents and 30 cents, reflecting steady but pretty muted growth. That's not exciting, but it's honest. A more balanced scenario, where awareness improves and network usage actually starts to rise with real applications, lifts Kas price into a 50 cent to 80 cent range. That's a decent multiple from current levels and would put Kaspa back on people's radar without requiring some massive bull market euphoria. But the most discussed scenario, the one getting attention, centers on Kaspa establishing itself as a leading proof-of-work settlement layer during the next major market expansion phase. Under that condition, KAS price reaching between $1 and $2 becomes genuinely possible. And, this outlook doesn't assume hype-driven spikes or retail FOMO. It depends on infrastructure recognition and real usage from projects that need fast decentralized settlement. Now we have some deeper technical insight here from Parker Schmidt, who focuses on what the network already delivers rather than future promises and roadmap hopium. Kaspa allows anyone to run a node from Genesis with modest hardware, keeping verification accessible and genuinely decentralized, which is something most modern chains completely fail at. High block rates also let individual participants contribute to consensus without relying on mining pools or massive capital commitments. That combination creates what Parker Schmidt describes as real-time decentralization, where performance and sovereignty coexist without sacrificing one for the other. Few networks manage that balance, and none do it with proof of work at this scale, which is actually remarkable when you think about where the industry is headed. This architectural clarity strengthens the long-term Kaspa prediction narrative, because even though KS price may not reflect it today, the foundation supports use cases that extend way beyond speculation and trading. We're talking settlement infrastructure, payment rails, applications that need fast finality without trusting validators. That's not sexy, it's not going to get you rich overnight, but it's the kind of stuff that builds lasting value in crypto. But here's the challenge, and this is what keeps KAS price suppressed right now. Kaspa continues to face a communication challenge rather than a technical one. The underperformance has less to do with broken mechanics or failed upgrades and way more to do with how difficult the story is to compress into quick narratives that retail investors and even institutions can digest in 5 minutes. Block DAG architecture, pure proof of work, real-time decentralization, these aren't concepts you explain in a tweet. As understanding improves and more developers actually start building on Kaspa or integrating it into their infrastructure, that gap between technology and price may finally start to narrow. Kaspa price action heading into 2026 will likely depend on whether the market starts valuing settlement performance and decentralization as much as it values novelty and marketing hype. That shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, education, and frankly, a few market cycles. But history shows us that infrastructure-focused networks often move last, not first. Bitcoin didn't pump on day one. Ethereum took years to gain recognition beyond the crypto nerd community. Kaspa might be following that same trajectory, just with better technology and worse marketing. So that's the Kaspa prediction for 2026, a potential $2 KAS price if adoption catches up with the technology, and honestly, the fact that it's being ignored right now might be the exact setup patient investors are looking for. I want to hear from you in the comments. Are you holding KAS? Are you waiting for lower prices? Or do you think this whole thing is overhyped? Drop your...
So that was a pretty good summary from Zachary. This is the last latest crypto pumps, but I was looking for another video from earlier. Actually, I was looking at. Trying to find this video. Was this it? I think we'll get ready to run this, and I'm actually getting ready for the Zebek video as well. So let's run this and keep it moving.
What's going on? A couple brainstorming ideas for out of the box thinking. Here you go. You can see on the Kaspa TC chart overall, it's not looking good, but the last day is. So sometimes you get those small victories. You can see that silver's up to 103, 5.8 trillion. Now you can go to the Wayback Machine, look at this website, back in 2021, 2024. A lot of time Bitcoin, before silver had this big run up, Bitcoin was ahead of silver or a little bit behind silver. So is Bitcoin going to catch up? I don't know. But you can see that it went from like a 1.4 trillion to 5.8 trillion. So it shows what's possible. You can see the dollar down to 97. Weak dollar usually helps the risk assets. You can see that it's been trending down. I think, and overall they want a weaker dollar here. I told Grok the idea about writing random letters to strangers, handwritten letters. I just saw this video about this guy that writes at the end of each year, he writes handwritten letters to people saying, thank you, for having me on this podcast or whatever. And, we get a lot of text messages, emails, all that stuff. So sometimes those can go through the cracks. And I just told Grok about that idea. And he said, yeah, right here, handwritten letters, expand your idea into community orchestrated Kaspa pen pal revolution. Volunteers write personalized handwritten notes to strangers, sourced from public directories, explaining how Kaspa solves real world problems like high fees and remittances, include a QR code. That's where I said, note, I wouldn't add a QR code. People are real skeptical of QR codes these days because, it's just a lot of scams connected to them. So random one. And I'd think a nice letter. And then you could say, encourage recipients to share their letters online with hashtag Kaspa letter drop, turn it into chain reaction. And you could also let them know where to buy it or whatever, country Kaspa, Kraken or whatever. So that's someone kind of, I don't have anything constructive right now except a tip to save time. Marketing on X doesn't help because only Caspians get to see it, is what this person said. When I post that on Case Social, you can see up about 5%. Kaspa KII, he's got their stuff going on. I saw that Crypto Odie, he's the guy that was behind the that big, stress test where it went to 150, 58 million in one day. He wanted to know more about Rory O'Neill's background, questioning some of the companies that he may not have worked on. I just put that post into X. I'm not saying, and some people was kind of mixed in there. I just had Grok take a look at it and see what he thought. Some people thought, yeah, it's good to maybe, know more about the background. Some other people thought, what, that's like more information. They don't owe the community anything. And then I just thought, okay, they're not asking the community for money or anything like that. I guess, they might add a call action to try to get people with fire blocks and the copper or whatever. But they're not asking money. So what are they going to get at? That if they don't follow through on what they say, and that's the one thing, you want to have optimism towards these projects. But I've been around crypto long enough that until something's actually built and it's working, then it's not built and it's not working yet. So sometimes people get over excited, but sometimes people have the best intentions and it's just hard to technically follow through. Sometimes people don't follow through knowing that they maybe never did. I'm not saying any of this stuff with Kaspa KII. I'm just saying it's still good to have some critical thought in your mind and be careful, because it's easy to get super excited because you hope this next thing is going to be the thing that pumps it up or whatever. But if they don't follow through, then the reputation in that this community and industry will go down. So I'm hoping they follow through on everything that they're hoping to, and if just a couple of things work out good. So I don't think it's bad to question people, and I can see where it was a lot of information that Crypto Odie was kind of hoping or expecting that Rory would follow up with, which he's not going to. So yeah, just, but I think it's part of it is that, you know, they're not asking, they're not, you know, trying to get anyone to give them money. So that's good. And you just got to realize that until something's out there, it's not out there. You know, obviously there's most of the technology stuff, but you can see we went from 1 block to 10 sec or 1 block to 10 blocks per second. That didn't really move the needle. But you got thing like vprog, some other, you know, tech stuff that'll be rolling out in the near future this year, hopefully.
So, welcome
price
back.
go up. It seems like just the price of stuff going up attracts more people. Like right now, there's people like, oh, Bitcoin's down, but if all of a sudden Bitcoin shot up to 150 at some point this year, then you'd have people FOMOing in. So that's pretty crazy. And my idea is, you know, writing handlet and strangers. I'm not saying it's even a good idea. It's just you don't see anyone in crypto doing that. At least I've never seen anyone do that.
Called real-time decentralization. That sounds like marketing buzzword nonsense until you understand what it actually means. Here's the breakdown. Crypto fundamentally relies on 3 pillars: game theory, cryptography, and consensus. Kaspa added a 4th pillar and optimized it before adding fancy features: performance. Every other blockchain forces you to choose between performance and decentralization. Want fast transactions? Sacrifice decentralization. Want true decentralization? Sacrifice speed. It's always a trade-off. Kaspa refuses that trade-off. Anyone can spin up a full node for under a couple of $100s and validate the entire chain from Genesis. That's genuine decentralization without needing enterprise-level hardware. Second, the architecture supports real-time settlement at an internet scale. Third, and this is crucial, the high block rates let individuals participate in consensus and earn mining rewards without joining pools or staking delegations. You can solo mine meaningfully with less than $1,000 in hardware. Every other network forces you to pool resources just to participate. Kaspa lets solo participants actually matter. That intersection creates what's being called real-time decentralization, the foundation for money, markets, and data to converge securely at scale. One interesting perspective making rounds is that this setup is perfect for an AI agent economy. Imagine AI agents running on Kaspa's native DeFi with stablecoins. Layer 1 functions as money. Layer 2 handles computation. The entire ecosystem could become the backbone for autonomous economic agents over the next 3 to 5 years. That's not guaranteed, obviously, but the technical foundation exists in a way it doesn't elsewhere. Quick disclaimer before we wrap up. Nothing in this video constitutes financial advice. I'm sharing information and my personal opinions. Cryptocurrency is extremely volatile and risky. You can lose everything you invest. Always do your own research. Never invest more than you can afford to lose, and consult with a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. Seriously, don't be reckless with your money. The situation with Kaspa heading into 2026 is genuinely fascinating. Weak hands are leaving. Strong hands are accumulating. The technology is solid but underappreciated. The price is consolidating while fundamentals slowly improve. If you've been waiting for an opportunity to research Kaspa seriously, now is that time. Not because I'm telling you to buy, but because the market is quiet enough that you can actually think clearly without FOMO clouding your judgment. If this breakdown helped you understand Kaspa better, hit that like button and subscribe to Crypto World for more honest crypto analysis. Drop your 2026 Kaspa price prediction in the comments. I want long-term perspectives only, no moon boy nonsense. Thank you for watching and thinking critically about crypto with me. The space needs more honest conversation.
All right, guys, we're wrapping it up. Just realized that was the wrong window I closed. But dang it, I thought I had another video, but I guess not. So thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and super chat. And as always, remember, let's get back to the money and stay dangerous. Miners out.